everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Let's Clear the Air. Today's hostess is me, yours truly, Ericka Flores, and the topic of today is going to be intersectional justice with a very special guest that I am so excited to have here with me today, the very, very special Matt Abularach-Macias. Oh, yes.
It's me.
It is you. Thank you for being here today, Matt.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. So, ever since I learned about this little show...
Take that back.
I mean, this grand show, you should all see the production going on behind the scenes right now. But ever since I learned about Clear the Air, I really wanted to be on just because I really respect and love and think so highly of the work of CCAJ. And I also recognize that you all are bringing conversation to the IE that nobody else is bringing. Where else are you going to see this kind of content created from us, by us, to talk about the issues that affect us every day?
Well, that's really kind of you to say. I think it was important for us to make sure that we created a platform where we can have an idea, discussion of different topics that sometimes can be taboo or can be uncomfortable to have, and that we would just take a stab at them. And we wanted to do it with special guests and people on the ground, organizers on the ground, individuals who are impacted or involved with these various issues, and who better else than you to help us have a conversation about them.
I mean, I'm just little me, so I'm not that special, but I am just trying to do my part.
Well, thank you for being here again, Matt. I want the audience to know a little bit more about you, how you began your organizing, how you got involved with advocacy efforts and environmental justice and intersectional work efforts, among other things that you are so involved with. And for all of those who are watching and listening, Matt is an organizer with the California League of Conservation Voters, and he is also a proud board member with the Inland Region Equality Network, also known as IREN. And so a lot of us know of these organizations, a lot of us don't know. So can you share a little bit more about what's up with you all? Who are you? What do you represent? What do you do? And how do we get involved?
So let's go back to your first questions, because you just asked me like 50.
I did, because I'm so excited. And I'm like, I'm going to forget, so I'm going to put it out there.
So to start a little bit about my origin story, right? I'm a queer person of color. I'm Latino. I grew up in the IE. I had no choice but to be involved in organizing, but to be politicized, but to fight for justice because of who I am and where I come from. So for me, it wasn't ever a choice of deciding to get involved. The world kind of chose that for me, and I feel like I am taking up that mantle of doing my part in the movements for justice, intersectional justice.
That's so beautiful. That really touched my heart.
Well, girl, you understand,
I do,
right?
Yes.
It's real, and I think a lot of us, we find a pathway into it. We enter in it because something activates us or initiates us. Yep. And it was when I went to college for the first time, growing up out here in the IE, then going to school in LA. For me, I went to this university that people think so highly of or speak so highly of, and then you go and you realize, oh, this institution is really oppressive. Me, as a queer person of color, is having a challenging time navigating this institution. Also recognizing that, oh, I have a privilege of being able to be here, but knowing that there's others back at home, the people I grew up with, aren't here too. And so for me, realizing that fact is what really got me into spaces that worked on organizing from this very intersectional justice lens.
Right. So on that note, can you share a little bit more about, in terms of your organizing, how did that organizing come about with the California League of Conservation Voters, and how are you involved with them now? What is your capacity level with them? Pretty much what's up with you all?
Right. So CLCV is an organization that's been around in California for over 40 years. And what we do is we help elect environmental champions, transform democracy, and really build a movement on the political side for the environment. So when we have progressive environmental champions elected to the state legislature, we get progressive environmental policy that moves our state forward in the right direction, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
We also hold our legislators accountable. We just released our annual scorecard, and that's a way for us to mark and measure how our legislators are actually doing and decide, okay, we need to continue to support these people, or we need to tell them, do a better job.
Yeah.
And there's always room to do a better job.
Absolutely.
Let's be real.
Yeah, there's always room for growth for sure. And then what's up with Iron? What is your role with Iron? And the reason why I think it's important for us to introduce these two organizations is because we're about to take a deeper dive into the intersectional work, intersectional justice, different organizations, but coming together in a very beautiful way to continue to advance the social justice work at large.
Right.
So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Iron came about out of growing up in the IE and not seeing spaces for other LGBTQ folks and having a hard time even coming to terms with my identity because I didn't see other people out here. And when I came back after graduating, coming from a place where I had those networks, I had those connections, and coming home, I was really depressed.
Yeah.
I felt alone, isolated. I didn't find community. And so I started to connect with a few people through like the means, right? And that's when I realized, okay, there is a abundant LGBTQ community in the IE.
There sure is.
There's a lot of us out here. We just don't have the resources or spaces to pull us together. We don't have a lot of our leadership at the local level really advocating on our behalfs or pushing forward policies that are inclusive of our communities, making things more fair for our communities. And so realizing that, getting together the people who also felt the same way, thought, oh, we need to start something in order to give a voice, a stronger voice, or funnel the voice a little bit of the LGBTQ community in the IE.
That's so wonderful. So for all of you who are listening and are interested in learning more about Iron, make sure to check out their website. They're also they have a social media platform as well. You can log on and just go check it out. And just
shout out to Abigail and Angie, our two staff members who are killing it.
Yes.
Really doing all they can to support our community.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to them. They're amazing organizers on the ground. And if you want to support them through different ways, you can. Contributions in any...
Oh, yeah, please. Donate. Go to our website and then regionalequalitynetwork.org. You can donate and support the community.
Yeah.
Come to our events. Show up. Follow the events that are happening. There's always something going on.
Yes.
And if you follow us, you can be informed and find the community, because I know for me that was the struggle,
right?
And that's what we're trying to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So join us. You're our family.
You are family. And now I want to pivot back to what is intersectional justice? What does it really mean? And I know this interview is about you, but on a personal note, when I began organizing, this was a couple years back, a long time ago actually, I really did not understand what intersectional justice was, intersectional organizing, and even in my beginning stages of organizing, I only focus on one issue. But I think that we can probably both agree that the issue that affects our neighbors, our other community across the street from us, it's also impacting us, and we should do something to invest in those efforts and continue to advance those efforts as well and find long-term solutions. But I want to hear from you. What is intersectional justice? What is intersectional organizing? What does that mean for all those who are listening who may have an understanding of it or want to learn more about that?
Right. I think of intersectionality as breaking down the silos. So first, the term intersectionality comes from Kimberly Crenshaw, who is a professor of law, I believe, from UCLA.
Okay.
And the term intersectionality, a lot of people think of it traditionally in the sense of sometimes double marginalization, right? Not only am I a person of color in the United States, but I'm also a queer person of color. So I'm being not only marginalized by the heteronormative hegemonic community, but also the Latino community for being queer, and even in the queer community for being Latino, and right? And if people think about intersectionality in that way, the way I really come to understand it in practice is recognizing that our oppressions are connected. And it's not just looking at things in a siloed lens of this community or this issue or this identity and this identity. It's about looking at all of our identities and how they're interconnected and organizing from that standpoint. And so instead of saying, oh, we're going to make progress on racial justice, but sorry, LGBTQ community, you're not included, right?
Not
it's
you.
Like,
not
right, exactly. But saying we can make progress on both at the same time. Why? Because the people who are oppressing us, the entities, the structures, the systems that create this oppression are all the same at the end of the day. And if we're going to transform that and transform power in our communities, then we need to think from an intersectional lens and think of all these issues as connected.
Right.
Because the people who are benefiting from oppression understand that. And so we need to understand that too. We can't divide small slices of pies, but we're fighting for everyone to have their fair share of the pie.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you laid it out so beautifully and in such an easy way to understand, because this is can be a very complex issue in understanding what intersectionality means. Now, this brings me to my next question. And this, I don't know if there's a one answer for this, because it's another complex question, at least for me, but how do we then close those gaps when it comes to not organizing within an intersectional lens? Especially out here in the IE, I think sometimes we can work in silos, or we have in the past worked in silos. So for you, Matt, what is perhaps one suggestion or a few suggestions that you have to help close those gaps and begin to do more intersectional work?
I mean, for me, I don't pretend to be an expert at all, right? I am just trying to do my part in the movements. I think if I were to suggest some things that we can do, the first thing I absolutely think is essential is compassion. Being compassionate towards each other. Understanding that we are more connected and face similar struggles than what we are apart, and taking that moment of time to think beyond just myself and consider and respect your point of view and your experience.
Absolutely.
And having compassion for your experience, same as mine, is the first thing we can do to really build stronger communities, to help create progress for all of us. And without compassion, I don't think we move forward anywhere. Especially in this time where everything's so divisive, so much division. We're being told more explicitly than before, because I mean, trust me, this is not a new story.
Right.
But in more explicit ways, how we should hate each other. And I say, no, we need to love each other and be compassionate towards each other's experience.
Wow. Well, thank you for laying it out in such a way, in such a comprehensive way. I think sometimes we do forget to be compassionate with each other, amongst each other out here. And for you to remind us of that, I think is very important. And so with that said, I do want to, now we've come to an end. This was a short episode. Yes!
Girl, yes! I feel like I have so much more. I feel like we just skimmed the surface. Like, ooh, like that top scoop of ice cream.
Yes.
It's like, I want to get to that bottom of the tub. And we were talking about the 5-gallon tubs, not like those little pints.
Well, this maybe can be a 2-part series to intersectional justice. I think it's a very complex topic.
Yeah, and talk to everybody and anybody.
Yeah. And so I do want to encourage all of our viewers to leave your comments below underneath the link or underneath the video that you're watching, and share what your thoughts are on today's conversation. What did you like? Any suggestions of improvement? And most importantly, what has been your experience with intersectional justice? Have you been involved with it? Did you know what it was before this video that you watched? And also, we would love to hear suggestions from you as far as other topics that you would like us to cover or discuss.
And let us know. I mean, I don't always get it right, and this is my perspective and my understanding. Share yours, because I'm ready to learn too.
Yes. Share yours, because I think we can learn a lot from you all, and we're interested in learning from you all. But I can't thank you enough again, Matt, for coming on and joining us today. I think you know how much I love you, and I learned so much from you, and I admire your organizing work so much. And every time I hear you speak, I always learn something new. So thank you.
I feel exactly the same way.
You're welcome. Well, here's to my boy Tears.
Oh, cheers to that.
And to Saving Mother Earth.
Saving the Earth.
Sorry, Saving the Earth, that's right. So stay tuned for the next episode, and we'll see you next in Let's Clear the Air.
Bye.